set it up and turn it around. We might have come from somewhere else, but this is where we found ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to a special edition of The Local Show here on GrassRoots Community Network. I'm Erik Skarvan, your host. So excited to bring in a first-time guest. Been talking to him for a couple years about this. He is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guitarist, singer-songwriter, record producer. You may have heard of this guy before. His name is John Oates. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, Erik. Great to be here. You've put me in a headlock on the trail a number of times. So we're finally making this happen. I like it.
I know. Well, and that's so fun to run into you doing athletics, and we'll talk about your athletic side today.
Sure.
Seen you out on the mountain bike. I've seen you out on the fat bike, and you like to go skate skiing, and we'll talk more about that. But we have to start, of course, with kind of currently what's going on in today's world. It's such a big topic.
Do we have to?
Well, we're going to talk about kind of the good things, maybe.
All right.
Coming out of COVID and the recent crisis. And kind of a two-part question. How have you stayed healthy and happy during this time period? And maybe a couple good things coming out of this for you. Silver linings, I like to call them.
Yeah, I think we all try to have to try to look for the silver lining in whatever personal way we can. And we were talking about this a little earlier. When this happened, when the sequester thing happened, I had this revelation one morning that I said, this is the first time in my professional life since I started recording and touring in 1972 that I've actually been home for any length of time. And
incredible.
It blew my mind, and then I went, wow, so this is what retirement's like. And then, and I kind of shook my head. And I said, I don't think I like it that much.
But you can demo retirement.
This is a demo. This is a demo.
Yeah, and maybe
so
not.
I'll be ready for it when the time does come, if it ever does. But no, I think my wife and I have been making the most of it as best we could. We were in Nashville for 3 months before we came out here.
Okay.
We've been wanting to come out, but we just didn't feel like flying.
Right.
But I've been doing yoga, which I had always wanted to do, and never got around to it. And now that I've been doing it for about 3 months, I'm like, why didn't I start this 10 years ago?
Right.
My hips and everything, just even when I'm hiking and just living, I feel so much better. So that's been a really positive thing.
Nice.
We've been eating really well, lost a little bit of weight. My wife's been cooking some real good food. We've been leaning on the veggie side of things, and and that's and I have plenty of time to write songs.
Right.
So and there's always Netflix. So we've been doing probably what everybody's doing.
I'll give you a COVID namaste from a distance.
Thank
I
you.
love yoga, and exactly what you said transfers directly to hiking, biking, all these other activities.
Unbelievable. I feel so free, especially in my hips.
Right.
Which is the first thing I noticed. And I've always been, athletic and active, but the yoga has really opened things up for me.
So what style do you like? Is it
well,
like a flow or a...
I'm an amateur, so
Okay.
I downloaded an app on my iPad.
Okay.
And I put the app on. There's a real nice-looking gal, and she talks me through it. And I started with beginner stuff, and I'm up into the intermediate things. And I have to say, I am not the most flexible person in the world. I've got these short little legs, and
But over time, you'll get loosen up more and more.
Oh, it's been huge. I really have seen a difference. It's been great. Yeah.
Right, and now you're here spending time at your place in Woody Creek, which...
Yeah, we're so blessed that we have this beautiful house in Woody Creek where, that we built, and our son was born, and where he grew up, and we have so many amazing friends here in the Valley, and I love coming back here, and we just, things as things progress in our life and in the world, we'll be spending more time here for sure.
Now we've got a little video clip. Is it from, you're playing some music?
Yeah.
Is that here in Woody Creek, or is that back in your place in Nashville?
I can't remember which one you've got. Am I outside?
You're outside.
Oh, that's here in Woody Creek. That's in Woody Creek.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, we're going to actually check out that video.
Okay.
In fact, let's go take a look at that, and we'll come back here in just a minute.
the night. Lose my mind, everything speeds up and slows down. I know that I'll be alright. I know that I'll be alright. I know that I'll be
So, John, there's a fun story behind that video.
Yes, there is. My wife discovered a young black artist from South Carolina on Instagram. His name is Skarvan Campbell, and you should check him out.
Okay. Oh,
and she found him, and she thought his music was really cool. She reached out to him, and we reached out to him on Instagram, and he got back to us, and we talked about doing a collaboration. So he had this really cool song, and he sent it to me, and I put some background vocals on it. So we kind of collaborated remotely, and we had never met. And this unusual thing happened where he did this beautiful illustration. He's a very gifted person. He's a writer, he's an actor, he's a musician, he's an artist. So anyway, he did this beautiful pen and ink drawing of him and I sitting around a campfire by a fire pit, and we had never met. And when I saw it, my wife and I saw the drawing, we went, it looks like the fire pit at our house in Woody Creek. And so I said, wouldn't it be cool if we went down and kind of replicate? So I walked down to the fire pit, I sit there, and I had the iPad playing, and I played the song, and I just played along with it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just, it was kind of this collaboration, I guess, that was meant to be. So we're putting the song in a movie, actually in a movie that a director who used to live in Aspen is doing.
Oh my gosh.
So there's all this synergy going on.
This connection.
It's kind of this psychic connection that's happening here between Aspen and creativity. And well, Aspen's always been a place where creativity and the outdoors kind of come together. That's what's one of the great things about Aspen.
Right. But it's interesting, and this is a whole nother show, but the connectivity in life is pretty fascinating. Once you recognize that, like there's a system or a pattern, and we attract, law of attraction is one way to say that.
Yeah. I think that's what happened with this fellow and myself, and it's just been a really interesting thing. When you open yourself up to the possibility of things happening, it's amazing that what can happen.
Right. Well, another thing you like to enjoy while you're here in Colorado, and in particular in Woody Creek, is you are a John Deere tractor fan. Tell us a little bit about your love of tractors.
Well, first of all, I love to drive.
Okay.
I'm a driver. I used to race cars and things like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so I love driving. I love going out on a country road and taking a drive. But when I'm on the farm in Woody Creek, I love my tractor. I got to say, I bought it in 1994, and I didn't know how much I was going to need it when I bought it, and now I have to say it's probably one of the best things I've ever bought in my life.
No kidding.
And that thing is just bulletproof. It can sit for months if I'm out of town, and I come, start it up, and plow with it, pick up rocks, do fences. I love that tractor.
How fun is that?
A lot of fun on it.
I bet you're looking for projects to do with the tractor now.
I'll just go and drive it around.
Well, we have another clip of that, so we're going to actually check John in action, and we'll see if nothing runs like a deer. All right, well, good times on the John Deere there, and taking advantage of that front end loader there in the snow.
Yeah, I got a blade, I've got a brush hog, got the front end loader. Yeah.
How fun is that?
It's all tricked up.
Well, John, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get ready for our first song of the show.
Uh-oh.
You have a couple choices.
Uh-oh.
And then I'm going to give you some choices too. So it's not all about what I want to hear.
I take requests to a certain extent.
Right. Well, we're going to have a balance. It's going to be a nice balance.
Okay.
Healthy balance. A little old school, a little new school.
All right.
But I do want to thank our underwriters for making these kinds of amazing, inspirational shows happen, including Aspen Square, Klug Properties, CMC Aspen, White River Overland, Live Aspen Art, Picken County Landfill, and of course Sundog Athletics, near and dear to my heart. We'll take a quick break, guys, and we'll be back with John Oates, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and so much more. We got so much to get to, you guys, so don't go away. White River Overland specializes in camper van upfitting and overland outfitting. Catering to mountain dwellers and outdoor enthusiasts, many of WRO's builds are purpose-driven to facilitate and enhance skiing, cycling, camping, climbing, and river adventures. Nestled in the White River National Forest, close to the deserts of western Colorado and Utah, WRO also rents camper vans and accessories. More at whiteriveroverland.com. CMC is preparing the people who make Aspen work. CMC Aspen collaborates with the community, providing skilled workers, future leaders, and problem solvers, meeting our economy's needs, ensuring opportunity and workforce integrity for generations to come.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
Live Aspen Art is a working studio at the base of Aspen Highlands. Come meet the artists and view both finished pieces and works in progress by owner Olivia Dane and visiting artists, or take private art classes offered for kids and adults. Olivia's recent works are also on view at Opera Gallery at the base of Aspen Mountain. For more information, contact Olivia at 970-379-2539 for an appointment or visit liveaspenartgallery.com.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
We're back with rock star John Oates here. And oh man, so much to talk to, but we're going to go back in time, John, because we want to start kind of in the origin, not at your birth, but you wrote in 1966 a song, I Need Your Love.
Right.
And you were still in high school.
Yep. Just graduated from high school that summer.
Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what inspired that? And
well, it was my high school band. We had a few different names. We ended up being called the Masters.
Okay.
And we were fairly popular in the little area where I grew up, small town in Pennsylvania. And we pooled our money together. We went down to Philadelphia and booked time at a little studio called Virtue Sound on North Broad Street. And the bass player and myself wrote a song, and we recorded it with our band. In those days, when you would record, we recorded on little 1/4-inch tape, it was all, nothing like what we have today, obviously. You would make an acetate, which was literally a soft piece of plastic that you would, the stylus would cut the song into the record. When that phrase, you're cutting a record, that's where it came from.
Okay.
The stylus would physically cut the groove into this blank piece of plastic.
Amazing.
So we took this blank, this acetate, down to a place called the Record Museum in Philadelphia that sold 45s, and walked in and said, hey, we made a record. And the guy said, oh, let me hear it. Put it on the turntable right in the shop. He played it. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, we want to put it out. He said, come on back here. Went into the office. He handed us a contract. And
whoa!
Being naive and 18 years old, we said, contract, record contract, of course. Signed it, and the record came out and it was being played on Philadelphia radio. So
Oh my
it was pretty amazing. And Daryl Hall was doing the exact same thing at the same time, completely independently, and his record and my record were being played at the same time.
Unbelievable.
So that's kind of how we met.
And you guys would actually meet at Temple University,
We were both
correct?
students at Temple University, but we didn't meet on the campus.
Okay.
We met through the music business.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And what was that like early on with Daryl? Because obviously you guys had a special sauce. You know, you had a combination as a duo that was magic, to say the least.
Well, that evolved. We didn't actually. When we first met in 1960, it was around 67. We hung out at first. He was working. He was doing. He's working in the studio and in a bar band. I was playing folk clubs and blues with a blues band, and we said, let's try something. We went to the Temple University radio station and we recorded something, and it sounded awful.
Really?
And we were like, okay, this is never going to work. Let's just hang out. We'll just hang. We were hippies living downtown Philadelphia, and so that's what we did. And then I went to Europe after I graduated from college, and I had sublet my apartment to Daryl's sister and her boyfriend while I was away. And I was in Europe for 4 months with a backpack and a guitar. And when I came back to Philadelphia, they didn't pay the rent. And my apartment was padlocked. So I had nowhere to live. I had been away for 4 months. So I literally walked to Daryl's house with my guitar and backpack, and I said, hey, your sister,
what happened?
what happened? And he said, come on, live here. So I moved into the top floor of this little place that he had, and we started writing songs, and that's how we started.
So he
crazy.
took partial responsibility for his sister's actions.
Hey, one of the best things that ever happened.
Wow. So that developed over time. It wasn't
Yeah.
obviously instant, boom,
No, but once we actually started writing together, things began to click. Yeah.
Okay. So why wasn't it Oates and Hall?
Well, it's because he's older than me.
You respected your elder.
Yes, I always do.
That was nice of you
I try
to do.
my best.
That was nice of you to do that. Well, you would land in Aspen in 1968.
Right.
And, I didn't know Aspen until a kid in the 70s, and those golden memories and the romance and the hippie chicks and, the artists and musicians that were all here. But you were back into the late 60s. What was that like?
Well, on the Student Union bulletin board at Temple University was a little advertisement for student half-fare flights to Denver and ski in Aspen for a week. Lodging, lift tickets, everything included was $125. And of course, I didn't realize how far Aspen was from Denver. They didn't get us to Aspen.
They
by
didn't
the
give
way.
you all those
They got us
details.
to Denver. So I happened to be talking to some guy in one of my classes. We got to talk about skiing because I'd been skiing in the Pennsylvania mountains, in New York, Pocono area, and I said, "Wow, this sounds pretty cool. You ever been to Colorado?" And he's like, "No, let's go." When you're 18, you just do stuff like that, right?
Cool.
So we landed in Denver and in late at night, and we didn't realize that we were in those days without all the roads the way they are, and we were 4 or 5 hours from Aspen. So there were a bunch of older guys who were renting a car. So we said, "Hey, we'll chip in with gas or whatever if you guys will take us out there." So we jumped in a car with these guys, and I remember going to Vail. We stopped in Vail for something to eat, and there was nothing in Vail. It was just this little, I think there was like 2 or 3, maybe a hotel and a little gas station, and that was about it.
Wow.
And we ended up in Aspen in the middle of the night, and we checked in to a little ski dorm up where the chart house used to be, right
Okay.
at the bottom of 1A.
Okay.
And there was a big St. Bernard.
Like skier chalet?
Skier chalet.
Yeah.
And there was a fire pit and a St. Bernard. I was thinking, is this real? This can't be real. And then we went into a little dorm room, and there was some guy from L.A., and he was, he had some hash. He was selling hash. And I was like, really? This is happening? And
This is heaven.
And then that night it snowed 12 inches.
Oh, man.
And woke up the next day, and the sun was out, and it was and I'm like, this is unbelievable. And so, needless to say, the Aspen bug, I got it pretty quick.
Wow,
So
that's
we
magic.
spent a week skiing and just running around, and the Jerome Hotel was really kind of down on its heels. The wallpaper was peeling off the walls, and it was kind of a flop house almost.
Wow.
And there was a guy named John Denver playing in Snowmass, because Snowmass had just opened, I believe, in '67.
Yeah.
So it was like the second year of Snowmass.
Wow.
And so people were, I had a guitar, and people were like, "Oh, you got to go see John Denver." And I'm thinking, really? He calls himself John Denver? And I
Like, is that for real?
we're in Colorado. So I went to see him at this little bar in Snowmass, and I remember him playing Leaving on a Jet Plane. And I was like, and he was saying that, he was so excited because Peter, Paul, and Mary were cutting it.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, wow, that's a good song, but I didn't really think anything. I thought he was just, a typical ski bum just kind of playing in a bar, And so it was just a great experience being here, and I never forgot it. And of course, I came back later in the late 70s and really started spending more time here.
When did you actually move here then? Was that in the late 70s?
In the mid to late 80s, I got a little
Okay.
condo. Little condo at the Pomegranate right down off
Okay.
82 there.
Sure.
And I had that for a while, and then I sold that to Jack Nicholson.
No kidding.
And that's where well, it's a long story. I was living back east, got divorced, wanted to check out, and came to live in my little condo, and I never left, basically.
And then like in the 70s when you're like spending more time here and into the 80s, and that was still a heyday of ski bum. It was like,
so great.
we worked, 2-3 jobs. I got here in the early 80s. But you always skied. You skied every day. And was that really a primary focus for you?
Oh, once I came in the late 70s, and because I actually stopped skiing from the late 60s until the late 70s. And I had a German girlfriend who wanted to ski. So I literally had to buy equipment. So I went from leather lace-up boots in the 60s to plastic boots in the 70s and went to Europe and skied a bit with her. And then I caught the ski bug again, and then came out here and began to ski more seriously.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was just such for me to look back and for you to look back. Those are some amazing memories, right?
It was a great time to be here. Aspen is great no matter how you slice it, but those days were it was completely different. And the great friends I met and the crazy things that happened in those days, it was the Wild West, and kind of cool.
One other quick question about that era is that all the musicians that were around.
Yeah.
Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, the Eagles,
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks came here and wrote Landslide. It was on and on. John Denver.
Buffett.
Yeah, what
Don
was that
Henley,
like? Just
Glenn.
being surrounded by, which is kind of like why you're in Nashville now. It's like such a
Yeah.
big music scene.
Yeah.
But Aspen was a big music scene. What was that
was.
like with all these artists around?
It was great to hang with those guys. I knew, I had met Don Henley and Glenn Frey when Daryl and I were out in L.A. At the playing the Troubadour in the early 70s. And that's when those guys were just starting, Linda Ronstadt and all that. And Jimmy Ibbotson, from the Dirt Band, still lives right up the road from me. And Don Henley lived literally less than a quarter of a mile down the road. It was just a really cool time to be here, and everybody was just kind of chill. It was the 70s and 80s,
Yeah, it was pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
It was low key. It was just go about your day.
A lot of partying.
A lot of partying.
Some pretty hard partying going on.
We need a whole nother hour for that part.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that, but I will capsulize by saying, in the early 80s, on the front of Time magazine, no less,
Right.
was a big pile of Coke with skiers coming down it, Aspen, Colorado, Tooth City, USA.
Oh, no.
On the cover of Time.
I wouldn't
in
know.
the early 80s.
Eric, I wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm sure. I just imagine you might have heard about that.
I might have heard.
Tell about
no
some
idea.
of those things.
No idea.
Well, let's get to a little music if you're up for it.
Sure.
And I'm going to give you a choice. Now, I have a couple of songs that I really want to hear. She's Gone
Uh-oh.
or Sarah's Smile.
Uh-oh.
Which do you want to start out with?
I play them all, man.
How about She's Gone? Because that really summarizes all my relationships. I'm being selfish right now.
Sorry about that, but
They all just keep
right.
moving away, John. What can I do? I wish them the best of luck every time they leave Aspen. So
Well, She's
at some
Gone.
point,
She's Gone is one of those songs that every songwriter wants to, hopefully can write a song at some point in their career that stands the test of time. And this song certainly has. And it is a song that Daryl and I wrote this song in about an hour and a half. Wow. I got stood up on New Year's Eve in New York City by a gal who didn't show up, and when she didn't show up on New Year's Eve, I figured, well, if she's not coming, she's gone, and I came up with the idea. He heard it, he wrote the verse idea, and we put it together real fast. So, is that enough of a?
That's good. I'm glad that's not only happened to me. Where
Right,
she's
hey.
gone.
But you know what? I got a great song out of it, and that's what.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody's high on consolation. Everybody trying to tell me what is right for me. Yeah. My daddy tried to bore me with a sermon. Well, you know it's plain to see they can't comfort me. Sorry, Charlie, for the imposition. I believe I got the strength to carry on, I say. Need a drink and a quick decision. Girl, you know it's up to me. I know what will be. And she's gone. I better learn how to face it. She's gone. I pay the devil to replace her. She's gone. What went wrong? Up in the morning, look in the mirror. You know that I'm a worn as a toothbrush hanging in the stand. In the stand, I say, my face ain't looking any younger. Baby, now I can see love taking a toll on me. She's gone. I better learn how to face it. She's gone. I pay the devil to replace her. She's gone. What went wrong? Think I'll spend eternity in the city, babe. Let the carbon and monoxide choke my thoughts away. Alright. Pretty bodies help dissolve memories. Said that they could never be what she was to me. Alright. Well, she's gone. I better learn how to face it. She's gone. I pay the devil to replace her. She's gone. What went wrong? Yeah. You better believe that she's gone. Baby, she's gone. Baby, she's gone.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Hey, up here at altitude, it's kind of hard to sing that high stuff.
I was going to say, how do you take care of your voice?
I was wondering what was going to happen when I went for that high note. Look, I managed.
We were all wondering.
Yeah, not as much as I was.
Right. It's on you, man.
Yeah.
So how do you take care of your voice? Like, I mean, do you have to do special things?
Well,
at
I took vocal lessons when I was a kid. I know how to sing. I sing from my diaphragm, and there's ways that you can modulate what comes out of your mouth, and you learn how to do that. And it's a muscle, when I'm tired, if I'm singing too much, it definitely changes, just like exercising a muscle.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to exercise for athletics. You got to exercise for singing.
Absolutely.
And do you have to do certain things for in terms of hydration or anything
well,
special?
Well, up here in particular.
Sprays or anything?
No, I just try to stay hydrated. And I haven't been singing much since I've been here, so I managed to get that high note out, which I'm very happy about.
Great job, man. So what is it about music? Like, what at the core of it, when you boil it all down? And I mean, you've been on tour for like 54 years or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
been on tour for a long time.
Unbelievable when you count it down. And if you started in 1966, and you've been into this music passion, but what is it like at the core of it?
I don't know,
really
Eric. I don't want to sound too, overblown or anything, but I was just born to be a musician somehow or another. When I was a little kid, even as a baby, I sang, and I don't know why, I don't know how. I have a recording of me singing "Here Comes Peter Cottontail" at 4 years old from Coney Island Amusement Park in one of those little phonograph booths that you would go into and you'd put a quarter in, and you literally make a record, and it would pop out of a slot on the side of the machine.
Oh, nice.
And I went back a few years later and sang "All Shook Up" by Elvis. When I was probably 6 or 7. So I just did, and I took guitar lessons at 6 years old, and I've been playing ever since. So yeah.
It was just born into it.
Yeah,
you
I
just
guess
had this
so.
natural attraction to music.
Yeah.
So your first album was really at 4. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Your first record was really at 4 years old.
That's
so
right. That's true.
Let's
That's
give
true.
you credit where
Yeah.
credit is due.
Well, thank you. Just don't ask me to sing "Here Comes Peter Cottontail." I think that's where I'm going to have
Do
to
you
draw
remember the
line.
lyrics or no?
Unfortunately, Erik, I do remember the lyrics. Yeah. Hopping down the bunny trail, hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way.
Oh my
There
gosh!
you go.
Oh my gosh! So do you have a favorite song? Like, could you identify a favorite song?
Well, "She's Gone" has to be one of my favorites from the Hall & Oates catalog, without a doubt. But I've written a lot of other songs, that I'm very proud of, and so it's just it's an ongoing process. I'm not very nostalgic. I don't like to look back. People always, fans and music fans. I think these songs in particular that are somehow attached to their life and their emotional experience, they want to hold on to them,
Exactly.
And so Daryl and I, we go on tour, we play those hits that people love to hear, and I feel like I have a professional responsibility to play them, but I don't want to live in the past.
Right.
Musically, I'm constantly moving forward, writing new songs all the time. I like to make the analogy. It's like the Hall & Oates experience is like visiting a museum. It's really amazing when you're there and you walk around and you love to look at all the paintings and sculptures and exhibits, but you wouldn't want to sleep there and eat there. You want to go home. So that's kind of how I look at it.
It's kind of a warm, cuddly nostalgia that we all love, right?
Yeah.
I mean, back to the good old days. It's always the good old days, and Aspen was always better the farther back you go, and all that. To some people.
Not always, but yes.
But there's great things in every era, and there's greatness in looking forward.
Absolutely.
And you've got a lot going on now, but I do want to get one other great from the past.
Okay.
Would you mind a little Sarah Smile?
Well, for you, Erik. Of course.
I mean, you co-wrote it, right?
Yeah.
You guys
well,
co-wrote that one?
I have to, full disclosure, this is a Daryl Hall song. This is a great Daryl Hall song because it really was his idea. It was a song he wrote about his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I co-wrote the lyrics with him.
Right.
So I have a small bit of ownership. But when I always play it, I always like to say that, this song is so good that even I can't screw it up. So.
Haven't been able to get it out of my head all week, John.
Baby hair with a woman smile, I can see you watching in the night, all alone with me, and we're waiting for the sunrise. I feel cold, you warm me when I feel can't go on. You come and hold me. Well, it's you and me forever. Hey, Sarah, smile. Oh, won't you smile a while for me, oh Sarah, please? Like leaving, you know you can go. Why don't you wait until tomorrow? If you won't be free, you know, all you got to do is say so. And I feel cold. Girl, you come and warm me when I feel I can't go on. You come and hold me, 'cause it's you and me forever. Sarah, smile. won't you smile a while for me, oh Sally, please. Up.
That was awesome, man.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it's like, you want to hear it. I get it when people come to see you guys perform. It's like you want to get that. We want to grab onto those parts of our lives. It's so magical. So it's nice to blend, right? The old and the new.
Yeah,
and
of course.
When you guys perform. How has that relationship changed and kind of evolved over the years? I mean,
our personal relationship between Daryl Hall and me, myself.
Exactly.
It's people ask that all the time. I think people have a fascination with duos. People, even though we're not technically a duo, and I can explain that too. But two guys or two women, or wherever it may be, who work together intensely, professionally. We're more like brothers. It's like. I always say, it's like if you have a family member or brother and you don't see each other, you live in different parts of the country, and then a holiday comes around, you get together, and the stories and the memories start flowing, and it's like time stops. That's more like what our relationship is like. We can not talk to each other for months at a time, and we can literally walk on stage and play these songs, and it's like nothing has ever changed. It's really pretty amazing, and I as the years have gone on, I have more and more. I have a more not respect, but I have more. Kind of. I feel blessed that we're able to do this, and we actually are good friends, and we respect each other, and we don't get in each other's way, and we do our own thing. We're completely independent people. But we have this legacy that we've created together that we're both proud of, and we get to perform it. I mean, it's really pretty magical and incredible. So,
well, together as a duo. Now, this is what they're saying in the media.
Oh, is this what they're saying?
This is what they say.
In the days of social media, I'm afraid to hear what they're saying.
They say duo, but as a combo, as a pair, you guys have sold more albums than any other duo in history.
I know, it's pretty crazy, huh?
10 I have to actually look at my notes because it's just like a whole list of accomplishments, but 10 number one records, over 20 top 40 hits over the years. You guys have sold, I think, over 80 million albums in total.
Yeah.
What do you take pride in most in terms of that relationship and that success? What do you look back on and think, wow, I'm really proud of that? Can you kind of summarize?
Yeah, bought me a house in Woody Creek and a John Deere tractor.
There you go. Well, hey,
life is beautiful.
There you go. It's enabled you this incredible life, and including this part here in Aspen, and it just sounds like a really special relationship. No,
it's we're very different as people, but we have very similar music and creative approaches. Interestingly enough, we have this common musical language, and it has to do with, he grew up in a place called Pottstown, Pennsylvania. I grew up in a little town called North Wales, about 20 miles apart, but we didn't know each other until we got to college. But we listened to the same music growing up on the radio, independently, of course.
Right.
So when we came together, we had this musical vocabulary that was common. It was like a common language that we could draw from. And I could say something about it. I could reference a song from 1959, a doo-wop song, and he knew exactly what I was talking about, and we knew how to sing it, and we knew all the words, and so there was that's kind of how that was the glue. And then, but since then, we've gone our separate ways personally. He lives in the New York area, and he's got a place in Charleston. He likes Charleston, South Carolina. I live in Nashville and Aspen. And so, we don't hang out, but when we're on tour, it's like the old family's back together. And
you guys got back together in 2020, this past year, until the COVID hit.
We actually did a couple tours before that too. We went out with the group Train. We went out with Tears for Fears, and we had this unbelievable tour. Literally, we would be on tour in the middle of a 40-city tour as we speak, if the world hadn't shut down. And it was the craziest thing, because in late February, we had booked a warm-up show in Hershey, Pennsylvania. To try out the show. We had this amazing production, big arena show with lights and video screens, and really cool. And we had KT Tunstall and the group Squeeze from England, who I'm a big fan of both of them. And so the first show on the tour was Madison Square Garden in New York, and we sold it out. We had an amazing night. We were like flying high on cloud 9, going, what a way to start a tour. And that was it.
Oh,
and it
then
ended.
chop.
And the rug was pulled out from under us. And so
man.
it was very bizarre to have this incredible energy and this thing, and selling out Madison Square Garden and feeling like, okay, what a way to start a tour. And then it's over. So,
But you've still got plenty of going on.
Oh,
You've
yeah,
got a
I
live
do.
album coming up.
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, when I'm in Nashville, I have a completely different musical life. I've been embraced by the Americana community, the roots music community, and it's something that really brings me back to the music that I made before I met Daryl. Because I was a folkie and a blues player, and I played R&B as well. But, it was kind of a thing that I got to Nashville, and I ran into all these people like Sam Bush and Jerry Douglas and Bela Fleck and Jim Lauderdale and all these really talented people who were operating in that Americana roots music community. Okay. And it immediately opened up a channel for me to say, hey, wait a minute, I can go back to the music I was making as a kid, and it could be a stepping, a jumping off point for me to go forward into the future. Kind of like going back to go forward.
Back to the future.
Back
There you go.
without the DeLorean.
Right. Well, maybe there's still hope for that too.
No, I got the John Deere. That's
okay,
good
there
enough.
you go.
That's good enough.
No John
when I sit in
DeLorean
that thing, it takes me back. But so that's what happened, and I began to explore that, and I began to go back to the music that I made, prior to meeting Daryl, and that music then informed what I would do going forward. And so I created this band called the Good Road Band of top recording session players, really amazing people. And originally the album started out as a tribute to Mississippi John Hurt, who's one of my childhood heroes. And I was just going to do that, but it felt empty for some reason. It didn't feel complete. And I thought, I wish I could do some of these Delta blues type songs with a band. I wonder what they would sound like. And so I assembled this incredible band, and we went in the studio and we played the first song, and my engineer turned to me and said, John, I don't know what this is, but just keep doing it because it's cool. And that evolved into the Arkansas album, which that came out 2 years ago. And now I have a live performance of that, which will release in September, called John Oates and the Good Road Band live in Nashville. Wow. So that'll come out in September, and it's these guys playing their butts off, and we're playing the music of the Arkansas album plus some other things as well.
Do you want to play something from the Arkansas album?
Yeah, sure.
That would be cool.
Actually, I'll play the first song that we recorded because this is the one that was the kind of unlock the key to the record, because as I said, it's a Mississippi John Hurt song, and I can play it in a very traditional Mississippi John Hurt way.
Nice.
And that's what I did. But then when the band grabbed it, it became something else. So this will be me playing it kind of the way I played it originally without the band.
Okay.
You'll have to buy the album. Boy, what a plug, huh?
Well, hey,
right.
good tease. We
That's
got to
right.
get the album.
This is that Mississippi John Hurt classic called Stack O'Lee. Oh, police officer, now, how can that be? You can't arrest everybody, but you free to Stagger Lee. He's a bad man, cruel old Stagger Lee. Billy DeLine told Stagger Lee, now, please don't take my life. I got 3 children and darling, lovely wife. You a bad man, cruel old Stagger Lee. I don't care about your children, I don't care about your wife. You done stole my Stetson hat, now I'm gonna take your life. I'm a bad man. Woo-hoo-hoo. I said boom, 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 boom. Went that 44, no. Stagger Lee shot Billy DeLine down upon the barroom floor. Now he's a bad man, cruel old Stagger Lee. Well, the judge said to the jury, hey boys, what you gonna think of that? Stagger Lee shot Billy DeLine about a $5 Stetson hat. He's a bad man. I said, up on the gallows, Stagger Lee did fuss and cuss. Judge said, boys, better hang him now before he kills the rest of us. He's a bad man. Cool old Stagger Lee. He's a bad man. Cool old Stagger Lee.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So it's kind of that bluesy Americana.
Well, Mississippi John Hurt was he was from the hill country of Mississippi, from Avalon, Mississippi, and a lot of people lump him into the Delta blues category, but he actually wasn't. He was more of a almost like a ragtime blues player, and he was very unique, and that's what appealed to me as a kid. I got to meet him, in the '60s in Philadelphia during the folk revival, and so I was a big fan, and so that's how the album started. But then once we got into the record, I thought maybe it's too limited to just do Mississippi John Hurt music. And I started saying, well, I wonder what he was listening to back in like 1929 when he was first recording on OK Records. And so I started doing some research into playlists and jukeboxes in the Deep South and seeing what was being played in the early days of radio, what were the first hit records. And I realized I could create this kind of snapshot of early American popular music, and I think a lot of people just kind of assume that pop music started with rock and roll, and it really didn't, And so I wanted to kind of shine a light on the early days of music. I mean, there were people making records in the 1920s that were selling millions of copies, and for the first time, people could come home to their house with a record and play music in their home. That's a revolutionary concept. We kind of take it for granted because music is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. But in those days, unless you sat at a piano or someone played a guitar or someone sang in your living room, you didn't hear music. So, it's, and of course the radio, you could turn on the radio all of a sudden. So I thought, what a unique period of time in American musical history, and no one's really doing anything. So I gathered a lot of songs based on that era. And that's what the album's about.
Wow, how neat! That's so cool. Well, you're like a music historian. I mean,
I love history.
Sounds like you enjoy digging back.
I do. I'm a history buff in general. But I do. I like digging into the interesting backstories and how a lot of this music was evolved. Being a professional musician my whole life and a songwriter, I feel like I'm part of a legacy. Yeah. And I like to think that, the music that Daryl and I have made some of it will stand the test of time, like so much other great music that's come before us. And so I want to celebrate that. I want to be part of that tradition.
Well, we're gonna keep moving forward because you have a couple new projects going on.
Yeah.
One has an Aspen connection.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your couple new projects?
Well, that's the movie that I'm working on. There's a fellow named E.J. Forster who he was actually worked on the I don't know if you remember Aspen Extreme.
Yes. Oh yeah, I've seen it
Right.
many times.
My wife had a small cameo in that movie.
T.J. Burke.
Yeah, T.J. Burke. That's right. Well, E.J. Forster's a director, a film director from Hollywood, but he actually lives in Hawaii and here as well in Snowmass. He reached out to me through some mutual friends and told me about a film that he was making. It's called Gringa, and it's a great story. It's about a young girl living in Southern California whose father has abandoned the family, and she's living with her mom. And to make a long story short, her mom unfortunately dies in a car accident, and so she sets out to go to Mexico to find her father. Oh. And when she gets there, what she finds is not that great. He's he's kind of an alcoholic, and he's a beach bum, and it's the story of them reuniting and reconnecting, and it's a really great story. So he asked me if I could come up with some things, and I came up with some ideas for that particular movie. So I'm working on that now. Songs aren't completed, but that's going to be a project that's really exciting to do. And I'm just doing stuff. There's always something going on. Yeah.
Always something going on.
Yeah.
So, kind of moving forward into kind of what you're doing currently here in Aspen.
Yeah.
You've been out getting some hikes in. And you're a hiker. I know you're a mountain biker as well.
Yeah.
But more recently, the hiking. And
Yeah.
can you tell us a little
Well,
about your love of hiking?
The mountain bike technology has left me behind since I haven't been here that often. And I, when I see everybody out on the trails, and I know there's an incredible network of trails in Snowmass now. that everyone's
Sky Mountain Park
really
and that whole
loving,
area.
And my buddy Art Burrows is trying to get me out on the bike again. So maybe when I come back this summer, but. I just did Cathedral Lake, and I did Sunnyside, and I got a few little local hikes in the Woody Creek area that I like to do. It's just beautiful to be here, and and to realize how I might be fit for my age in Nashville. But when I get out here, it's a whole different level of fitness. I used to kind of goof on the tourists when they'd be huffing and puffing for breath, when I lived here. Now I'm one of them. So, going up to Cathedral Lake, I was like, dang, I don't remember it being this steep. It was fun. I got up there, and I was pretty proud of myself. And coming down, I ran into some old friends on the way up, and it was just there's nothing like being above the tree line and just having that experience. Feeling when the air kind of gets cold. When you get up above 10,000 feet, it's beautiful. So
That's special. Yeah. And maybe when you come back later this summer, you get a little mountain biking in. And I'm still riding a hardtail.
Yeah, good. Right?
Hey, it's still lighter on the climbs.
Hardcore, hardtail.
Well, I don't know about that, but
you're hardcore. I know
I'm starting to get like, I'm pushing 60 before too long, and maybe full suspension.
Oh, yes, young man.
I know, it's all relative, right?
That's right.
Well, Klaus is 100.
Oh, that guy.
And he doesn't set the bar; he just is the bar.
He is the bar.
He's the bar.
He's my hero. And whenever I complain about getting older, that's Amy, my wife. What she always says. Klaus Obermeyer. That's all she has to say.
Exactly. Just end of conversation. No more complaining.
Yeah.
So do you have one more song in you? Maybe
Sure.
something a little more new school and something you'd like to share?
I can play the title track from the Arkansas album.
Love it.
I can tell you a little quick story about that too.
Sure.
Every one of these songs has some sort of story. When I put this Good Road band together, one of the first things we did, we went to a little town called Wilson, Arkansas, which is about 25 miles northwest of Memphis, right on the other side of the Tennessee-Arkansas border along the Mississippi River. And it was at one time, years ago, one of the biggest cotton plantations in America. Wow. And Highway 61, which is the Blues Highway, runs right down the middle of the town. So we did this show in a little church. And after the show, we all went out and we stood at the edge of the cotton field with the Mississippi River and the moonlight and Highway 61, and I'm like, this is too much. I said, this is like, this kind of crystallizes this whole southern journey of American music from the deep South, from New Orleans up the Mississippi Delta, to Memphis and St. Louis and on to Chicago, and it just kind of struck me. And I was doing all these older songs by other people, and so I said I should write something. As a songwriter, I felt like I wanted to contribute to that legacy of music. So I came up with this song called Arkansas. So. There's a faded glory along the great river road, in a worn down farmhouse hanging on a broke down porch, looking over miles and miles and miles. Walk along the levee silhouetted by a crescent moon. When the sun starts rising, hitting 90 before the clock strikes noon. Don't you know days and nights, dreams drift slowly by. Another delta the dawn brings hope worth waiting on. Where that old man river flows, the snow-white cotton fields of Arkansas, yeah. There's a long black train running on the southbound track. Hear that distant whistle blowing when it calls you back to that hard-hit heartland along the muddy shore, where that old man river flows. There's the snow-white cotton fields of Arkansas, yeah. Ooh, watch that old man river flow. Watch that old man river flow. There's snow-white cotton fields of Arkansas, yeah. Watch it, old man river flow. There's snow-white cotton fields of Arkansas. All right. Watch it, old man river flow. There's snow-white cotton fields of Arkansas.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So when you see a scene like that, does the lyrics just pour out of you as a songwriter, or do you have to really sit down?
It didn't happen at that moment, not that night. But as soon as I got back to home, the idea of the moonlight on these white fields, and it was at a time when the cotton was blooming.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
You know, the idea, the image of the moonlight and the white cotton fields was just powerful, and I just came up with it.
Oh, sounds like a powder day in Aspen almost.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's that same sense of euphoria when you know you're kind of in that zone, you know.
Yeah, nature inspires.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of your music and a lot of what you do is
just life, you know. Trying to stay positive and look at the the world around you and try to reflect it through music.
I like that stay positive part, the stay positive part, and that must be one of the keys to success. I mean, as you go back and looking back in your life and this huge body of work and all the success, and what are a couple of those other keys to success? I mean, you stay positive, that drives, what you want to do in life. What are a couple other things that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, I just try to be good in the most universal way. You know, good to myself, good to people around me, good to the universe, and I try to be honest. And I even though my life is pretty, maybe the average person would think, it's pretty, jet set and spectacular, and I'm running around the world and I'm doing all this stuff, which, and I am, but I really just feel like I want to, I know it sounds like a cliche, but just keep it real as best I can, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah. Be good to others. Be honest.
Yep.
Be positive.
It's not that complex.
Seems like you really go from your heart too. Like you're a person that lives from the heart versus the mind. Like the mind can tell us a lot of stuff, right?
My mind will get me in a lot of trouble.
I know. The mind gets in the way a lot. Like,
yes.
Quit it, man. I mean, but
my wife's got me reading this book by Eckhart Tolle about having your mind get in the way of just being present. Right. So yeah.
What do you hope your legacy is going to be? Like when you go on, and I know that it might part of life, and I think as just naturally as we get older, we think maybe legacy would be a strong word for me, but I mean, what's the imprint? What's the impact? What do you hope for, when all is said and done?
Well, I obviously because I've devoted so much of my time and my life has been so intrinsically connected to being a musician, I would hope that my music would live on. That would be, something.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be seen as a good husband, a good father, a good person, a good friend to people, and someone who was able to be counted on, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing with us today. We do want to give a shout out to Amy and Tanner,
Amy and
your
Tanner,
wife
yeah.
and your son.
Oh, yeah. And my dad, who's, by the way, July 7th, next week, he's turning 97.
What's your dad's name?
Al.
Al.
And,
Happy birthday early
yeah,
to Al.
Yeah. We're going to do a FaceTime tomorrow. So
That's epic.
Yeah, because unfortunately we can't visit with him. And
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still hanging in there.
Well, obviously you got the genes too,
Yeah.
buddy, because you're doing great and
Yeah, thanks, man.
You're crushing it. So, I mean, to say the least, it's been such a pleasure, such an honor. Thank you so much for what you've
thanks
done
for
for our
having me.
world,
I'm
our
glad,
community.
I'm glad we run into each other on the trail, make this happen.
I know.
Really
Well,
cool.
that's the beauty
Yes,
in a
it
small
is.
town,
Yep.
especially small athletic town.
Yep.
We know we'll run into each other again. And
You got it.
Did you have fun on the show today, John?
Yeah, wonderful. You have a great show, and Grassroots, it's important to keep stations like this alive and working.
That's the other thing I wanted to thank you. Thank you for all you've done for Grassroots.
Yeah, well,
because
I've
we
been
do
a
appreciate
supporter for
that.
quite a while because community media is very, very, very important.
Well, thanks again, John
Yeah,
Oates,
sure.
for all you do. And
you.
thank you guys for watching The Local Show. Catering to mountain dwellers and outdoor enthusiasts, many of WRO's builds are purpose-driven to facilitate and enhance skiing, cycling, camping, climbing, and river adventures. Nestled in the White River National Forest, close to the deserts of western Colorado and Utah, WRO also rents camper vans and accessories. More at whiteriveroverland.com.
Celebrating another great summer season by offering up to 25% off their nightly rates. Aspen Square Hotel is the hospitality place featuring fireplace studio suites and larger condominiums with full hotel-style services in the center of downtown Aspen. Aspen Square is proud to support The Locals Show.
Sundog Athletics, Aspen's Adventure Sports School, is your opportunity to experience one-of-a-kind guided adventures and gain new skills to experience the thrills of mountain and road biking, fitness hiking, and Aspen's exclusive canoeing adventure. They can be reached at 970-925-1069, and fresh updates can be found at Sundog Athletics on Facebook or sundogathletics.com.
Welcome to